So the picture is bleak, and I wish I could say that it were not. But I do want you to know that the men and women who are working on this issue, both in Congress and within the federal agencies, are doing everything that they can do to make the situation better. And I say that again because I think you have a right to know that. And I will encourage any of you, if you've got an idea as to how we can make the situation better, we're not the sole source of good ideas. If you've got an idea, please let us know. But I can guarantee you this: if you call any of these people at this table and say, let's pursue this to improve our water supply, they will pursue it. They will pursue it until they're told, no, we can't do it. And call me directly if you'd like to know, if you would like to ask any question about the things that we are doing or to suggest ideas of what we can do. And so you could do that. I'm going to give you my cell phone number. It's area code 559-905-7139. My home telephone number is area code 916-447-4322, and you can call me anytime, the day or night, and I can guarantee you that we will do whatever we can under the existing law and under the existing biological opinions to improve the situation. Yes, sir.
With all due respect, as representatives for our country, for our citizens here, these guys, Cardozo and Costa, if you represent the people, you could be in Washington every day standing up and demanding that Congress act. You could have voted with Nunes on several occasions to temporarily rescind the biological opinion. And you have not done that. So you telling us that they've done everything they can is a lie.
Well, then, sir, you know, what you're doing is you're calling me a liar. And I've been called a lot of things in my time, but I've never been called a liar. And I can tell you, I mean, this is not a partisan issue. If we make this a partisan issue, we all lose. And I have tremendous respect for Devin Nunes. Devin Nunes is doing everything, from my perspective, that he should be doing to draw attention to this issue, to create a circumstance where there is a chance that we may be able to obtain some type of an exemption to the Endangered Species Act that both Mr. Costa and Mr. Cardozo support. But what you said was that they should be in Washington every day demanding that action be taken, and they should be voting with Devin Nunes. The first amendment that Devin Nunes proposed to suspend the application of the Endangered Species Act would not have gotten to the floor of the House of Representatives if Dennis Cardozo, who's on the Rule Committee, had not stood up in the Rules Committee and said, the business of this House is going to stop unless this matter gets to the floor. That amendment lost by less than 2 votes.
Because they wouldn't stand up to Pelosi.
You are absolutely wrong. I mean, I'm sorry. You are absolutely wrong. They got Steny Hoyer, the leader of the majority of the House of Representatives, to vote in favor of suspending the application of the Endangered Species Act. So you're just absolutely, fundamentally... There have been 7 votes since then, and I'm sorry, I'm getting angry, but the reality is...
I'm not angry at you.
Well, you called me a liar.
I'm calling them a liar. I'm saying...
No, you said... No, you called me a liar.
What you said about them is a lie.
Well, you know what? You can have your opinion, and I can have my opinion, but I am in Washington quite a bit. And I'm walking the halls of Congress. I am attending meetings with people from the administration, the Department of the Interior, the Bureau of Reclamation, and I can tell you from my personal knowledge that there isn't anyone who is fighting as hard. Now, they may be doing it differently. They may be doing it behind the scenes. They may not be as vocal. But I can tell you from my personal knowledge that there isn't anyone who is fighting for this valley in terms of the needs for water than these guys right here. Now, again, you and I can have different opinions. Yes?
So I understand, wasn't there 6 more opportunities for them to vote for the legislation to suspend the ESA like we did in Mexico for us to get our water reliably? It'd be flowing right now. Is that, I just want to make sure I understand.
There have been multiple amendments that have been proposed. And as an example, there is currently a petition to discharge the rules.
About the 6 more opportunities last year that the water would be turned on right now.
Well,
Yes or no?
the answer is sometimes. It is not yes or no. They voted, when they came to the floor, these guys voted in favor of them. Some of them didn't get to the floor.
Was there 6 more opportunities?
There have been 6 more proposed amendments. Some of them never made it to the floor. Because they lacked votes. But I can tell you, again, from being there, this discussion has evolved into something that may not be serving the interests of the people in this room well. But no, I didn't call it. No, he called. Okay, and let me tell you the facts. I didn't suggest that this gentleman is lying. He said my comments about Jim and Dennis were lies. Now, the reality is many of those opportunities didn't make it to the floor. When they made it to the floor, these gentlemen voted in favor of them. Now, everyone has a different approach, and I just want you to know, and if you'd like to talk to me privately or so we don't take more time here, about the efforts on each one of those 6 and what these gentlemen did, I'd be happy to talk to you about each one of those 6.
I'd like to hear from them.
And that's fine, and I think that you should hear from them. But I just want you to know, and the reason I started this discussion was your anger, your justified anger, and your frustration, your justified frustration, if it's going to be directed someplace, should not be directed at the people sitting at this table. Because under the law as it exists today, and Devin Nunes says it all the time, Congress wrote the law, Congress can change it, and he's absolutely right. But under the law as it exists today, and under the biological opinions as they exist today, these people are doing what they can to improve our water supply. And they're...
If you were able to go to bat 7 times, and you select this one once, and you strike out 6 times, that was the question.
Well, and I appreciate that question, and as was suggested, Mr. Costa and Mr. Cardoza can address that question. But again, if you'd like to know, call me. Yes.
Let's move on.
Yes.
We're here to find out.
No, that's right. I appreciate that, Jim. We have a panel here, and we need to move on. But let me just clearly state for the record, Russ, and we can agree to disagree on whatever issues, of the 6 out of the 7 votes that came to the floor that I had an opportunity to vote on, that Devin had in the form of amendments, I voted for every one except the one that he chose to challenge the chair's determination as to whether or not the chairman of the Appropriations Committee ought to be cited by the Ethics Committee. And I didn't think that the chairman of the Appropriations Committee ought to be cited to the Ethics Committee for an investigation as the chairman of the Appropriations Committee. No, I don't want to get into debate. We've got a panel here to this. I'd be happy to talk to you about it later on. But 6 of the 7 amendments that Devin raised on the floor, I voted for. No, I understand, but we'll be happy to discuss. Six of the amendments out of the 7, with the exception of the challenge of the chair, which Devin challenged the ruling of the chair, that was the only amendment that I did not vote